Good morning, good afternoon, welcome wherever you are in the world. We'll give it a few moments to let everyone to come into the Zoom room. Good morning and welcome to Green School Bali. We're live in our jungle campus. And again, we'll just take a few moments to welcome everyone into this virtual open day. And then we'll get to introductions and share all about what you're going to experience today on this virtual open day. First of all, my name's Leanne McKee. I'm Director of Communications and Community Centre here at Green School Bali. And I'm really excited to welcome you to our virtual open day on this May 2022. On the hot seat today in the bamboo sofa is a lot of special guests. And before I hand over to our host for today, Kate Druhan, our Head of Community Environment, I want to share more about what you can get out of today's virtual open day. But before I do that, let me share with you where we are this morning, live here in our jungle campus. We're here in the heart of school, which is one of our main buildings here at Green School Bali, and is very special. It's actually where our middle school classes are. So if you have a look up, you can see the top of our heart of school and the classes that are here. This is also a space for there's some admin here. We have our middle school classes, and we also have our middle school homerooms, and that's where today we're having this virtual open day. You might see some students walk behind. We are live here and we're keeping it real. So before further ado, I'd love to share how to get the best out of this morning's or this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are in the world, virtual open day so that you can get the best out of it. So whether this is your first time engaging with us here at Green School Bali, whether you've been in touch with us many times or you have an application in process, today is all about getting to answer and ask your questions of our educators, leadership team and parents. So we encourage you to get the most out of today in the live portion. But before I share more about that, let me tell you how to get the best out of this experience. Number one, please keep your cameras on. We'd love to see students on there, especially, and I'm sure you'll get a wave and a shout out from our panel today, so give us a wave. That's number one. Number two, we're going to keep your Zoom on mute. There'll be time for questions later, so myself and my team will be here to answer your questions on the Zoom chat, and to answer those will also be our panel later in the discussion. So please feel free to start putting your questions in the chat. What we really encourage to get the most out of today is to ask questions all about our learning program. We want to see if Green School is the right school for you and your family. Holistic progressive education is what we're all about, and we want to see if this is the right school for you. So if you're thinking of applying to our school from August 2023, next year, now is the time to start answering those questions. Later today, you'll also see a video all about our admissions process, which will share more about how to start the application and more information about that. Applications are actually closed for 2022, so we're excited to answer your questions really all about next year. So without further ado, I'd love to hand over to our guests and host for this morning, Kate Druhan and Sal, our principal. Thank you so much and enjoy the virtual open day.
Thank you, Leanne. Beautiful.
Thanks,
and warm
awesome.
and enthusiastic introduction. And a big hello to everyone out there, including some children that I think have joined the call this morning. As Leanne said, my name is Kate and I'm the Head of Community and Environment today, and I get the privilege of being your host for the Q&A portion of this virtual open day. So thanks so much for joining us. As Leanne said, to get the most out of this, we would love to see your questions come in on the chat. That is the most exciting part of the virtual open day. And sitting beside me right here on the bamboo sofa is Sal Gordon, our Head of Teaching and Learning. Sal, would you like to open us up for this session?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sal Gordon. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to our virtual open day, and whether this is the first or one of many connections that you're having with us, it's always a pleasure to share what we're doing at Green School Bali. What we're doing here is pretty awesome. I've been here for 9 years. I've taught across most of the upper school and was head of middle school for 2 or 3 years. And now I'm nearly finished my third year as principal, as head of teaching and learning here. This is a different model of school, and like I said, we're always really excited to share and for us to be authentic and open about what it is to come to Green School Bali. It's not the perfect school, We haven't found the perfect school at the end of the rainbow yet. I don't think one exists, but it is a very much alive community, a place where students connect their learning with the real world. It's a pretty special place, and this is my 9th year, and I'm happily moving into year 10 next year. And I couldn't think of any other place I'd like to be right now.
So, sound very nice. Opening remarks from you. We know you are a busy person, and thank you so much for giving us some time this morning to join with these beautiful people from all around the world. I'm wondering if you would like to share with everyone out there what's exciting, what's going on at Green School right now.
I don't know if you can hear it, but the primary assembly's exciting me right now. I can hear the music in the background. The weekly annual celebration of learning in our primary school is epic. That's happening right now. Right now also the upper school is actually really quiet because it's Wednesday, and our upper school mostly head off campus for their learning, part of their experiential learning. We call it Jalan Jalan. And so there's so much real learning going on this morning. That's exciting. I have to be honest though, exciting in many, many ways right now, because this community gets itself together in such a beautiful way to end its school years with the presentation of student capstone projects. We have an Oceans Festival at the beach soon, organised by students. We have a student leadership conference. We're getting a visit from the UN next week. We have our graduations, which are celebrations of learning. I'm sure there's more happening at this school in the next 5 to 6 weeks to close out a year that I don't know who couldn't be excited about what's going on here right now.
It is a beautiful time of the year, and community is a big piece of what we nurture here at the school, and what we offer to families. And yes, I can hear that primary assembly behind us. Is a really
I've got
nice
the Green School
example.
song. There's a little reggae version, an upbeat reggae version of the Green School song happening right now.
Should we ask Sal to do a few bars
No,
of the Green
please
School
don't.
song?
No.
No, okay, we'll save that for next time, friends.
Next time. I almost did.
So Sal, joining us a little bit later in this virtual open day to dive into the questions and answers, we have our head of middle school, Pak Dan. And we also have Rachael, who is a parent here at Green School with one graduate, one alumni child, and 2 here in the high school. And Rachael also teaches in the primary school. But maybe you can just explain to our friends out there how the school is structured with our learning neighbourhoods and our Green School English program.
Yeah, okay. It's cool that I get to share this with other people, because most parents, and definitely particularly students, one of the best things they come away with is these relationships with teachers. And for us to share some more teachers rather than just have boring me on the screen for the whole morning, it's really cool that we get to share that. Our school is... we haven't thrown everything out in terms of building a new model of education. We believe school needs to change and evolve to the growing importance of the needs on the planet. But we've still got structure in our school. We've still got frameworks, and that helps us. Our school is structured via age groups across the school with an early years program, pre-K and K, from 3-year-olds to 5-year-olds. We call it early years. A magical wonderland of learning there. They have their little campus inside a campus. Do amazing cultural, nature-based, play-based learning experiences all the time, and move into academics proficiency things too.
And Sal, I think you are the parent of 3 early years graduates.
Yes, I've had 3 early years graduates.
3 of your own children, yes.
And as a parent, let me just put the parent hat on for 10 seconds. I couldn't think of any other better way to bring my kids into education than being a parent at Green School Bali. Moving up from early years, we have our primary school, grade 1 to 5. Again, an amazing, it's got its own little learning neighbourhood. They have probably about maximum 20 students in a class in a grade with 3 teachers per grade, 3 adults. An amazing thematic program, which we'll talk about later. I think Pak Dan would be good to discuss that in more detail later. Beautiful green studies program, and some really strong literacy, thematic and proficiencies in there. That's grade 1 to 5. Middle school, where I spend a lot of time and have a middle school age 13-year-old boy right now. Grade 6 to 7 and 8. Also, again, really modern way of looking at education in terms of thematic programs based on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, project-based learning opportunities, lots of integrated real-world learning opportunities. And in middle school, for 11, 12 and 13-year-olds, they get to start choosing their learning journey, and they get to start choosing some of their electives and how they want to learn. High school, amazing program from grade 9 to 12, ends with an awesome diploma, an amazing e-portfolio. But again, as they get older, they start choosing their learning journey more, and the high school program in terms of electives, I think they get to choose from more. It's 30 classes 4 times a year, 5 times a year to do that. Before Dan comes in the afternoon, it's important, we think learning needs to be real. And we've defined our learning program and how we design learning experiences using that word real. We start with building relationships within learners, relationships with peers, relationships with nature, relationships with what they're learning to the real world. We also then, we make sure that learning is done for a purpose and in action. It's experiential. They experience something really rich. What do they experience? They experience authentic real world learning opportunities. So we're not learning about stuff that I was learning about in school. We're learning about the real world that's happening right now. And our L for real is local to global. So we can take our learning from here local and have an impact with it globally.
Well,
more detail? I can keep talking about this place and the learning programs because it is so exciting. But again, a big part of today is for everyone to understand what we offer here. Yes, it's different and it needs to be right for you.
That's right. And I know our friends that are helping to produce this event today will be putting some links in the chat there for you. So please do access those. We always encourage our families, take some time, have a good look through the website. It is jam-packed with information about the program and the experience. And it really does serve you well to spend some time on there and have a look and watch, listen, read, and really dive into what is the philosophy and how that manifests. Yeah,
definitely go the next level. Start digging into that website because it's got some amazing resources in there that speak authentically about the program.
That's right.
It's more than just a program here, though. We're a community of learners.
Correct. But I want to take you back just a minute on to in talking about the structure and those different learning neighbourhoods, which really are little communities within the bigger community.
Well, I hadn't got to a couple.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to talk specifically about our Green School English program as well, because we know that a lot of learners come here and need probably more of a focus on upskilling in terms of English language learning. We've got an amazing English language learning program. It's small, but it's connected to what we do here at Green School as well. It's very much nature-based, play-based, definitely project-based as well. And it's something that we think is really important to our program. We've also got a cool connection, which is sort of like another local learning neighbourhood as well, which is 300 to 400 local students that come here after school and learn English and sustainability themes. Pretty amazing, many things happening here.
There's a lot. We could spend a few hours on all of those pieces. So just on the Green School English program, parents, I know there are some of you on this call today who are interested in that program, and that runs in parallel to the main program here at Green School, and it is an immersive English language program. So we focus intensively on that English language piece, but in a really immersed way. So on the campus with the other learners here, access to all the facilities and that fantastic team that bring that focus and specialisation on English language, but also bring in some maths and some science, sport and art, and just that experiential piece of being part of the community. I
just saw them walk past, go to the iHub.
We did. We just saw some of our...
They're off to the Innovation Hub. There must be some project-based things happening there this morning.
So that program is running again next semester. So it runs in single-term blocks, although you can take 2 terms back-to-back, which covers a whole semester. So our next program, term-long program, kicks off in August through to October, and then another second block running through to December. But we also have a Green School English camp, which is running in what is our holiday period, so in July. So again, I think some links will be put into the chat there, so please do grab those. Sal, we're going to wrap up here with you in just a minute, and we are going to go to a video package that Sal and myself and the team have put together.
I think a younger me. You might see a younger me in a minute.
Yes, and a younger me as well.
Probably might not have been as hot that day too. It's a bit steamy today in the jungle.
Yeah, it is. It is quite warm today. I'm sure we've got a lovely glow for you, but please enjoy that package. We give you a little tour of the campus. You get to hear some information about visa and travel, and you get to hear from some parents at Green School as well. So while you are watching that, please do think about those questions. And children, we see some of you out there. We would love to hear your questions as well and have the opportunity to answer those. No question is too big or too small. It is our favourite part of the session to jump into dialogue with you. And joining me after the video package will be Dan, our head of middle school, and also Rachel, who is here firmly with her parent hat on, but is also an educator in our primary school. So, Sal, we are going to say goodbye to you in a couple of minutes. Any final thoughts or words or advice you'd like to share with our beautiful community out there?
I'm just really always happy to share and open up connections with anyone around the world about what we're doing here. Like I said before, I don't think we're the perfect school. We haven't got everything right. Maybe that doesn't exist, that perfect school model, but learning here is real, and I see definitely Green School Bali as a place that's moving forward into changing education globally and changing mindsets around the world about the purpose of education. If the purpose of education remains to be a place where we drop our kids off in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon, and then they get a number at the end of it, that's not enough for me as a parent or as an educator. The purpose of education needs to be reinstalled as a place that we build societies and build our future. Green School Bali, a community of learners making our world sustainable. I believe that's what we're on track doing here. It's a pleasure talking to you this morning. I've only got a short stint here, but please keep in touch. Like Kate said, get your questions into the chat box and dive into that website and see what's going on here. Thanks a lot.
Lovely. Yeah. Such inspiring words, Sal. Thank you so much. And if that's resonating with you, please do stay on. Enjoy this video package. Dive into that. Keep those questions coming in the chat, and I will be right back with you after the package. Sal Gordon, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Busy man. Thanks for giving us
Have a great time
this morning.
After the videos. Yeah, get some good questions out there.
That's it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sal.
Hi, I've made my way to the third floor of the heart of school. The heart of school is our middle school learning neighbourhood. I'm in a typical bamboo Green School classroom because you can see there is no walls. All of our classrooms are surrounded by gardens which our students play and learn in. We also have an amazing, beautiful river that's running really loud just down the hill, our solar farms, the iHub, the music centres, art centres, everything here is amazing and provides probably that structural, that physical campus that we know that at Green School Bali helps us bring a learning program to life. Our students are provided the opportunities to not just learn about nature, but learn in nature. We have 4 learning neighbourhoods. Our youngest learners, the early years, up to kindergarten. Primary school, from grades 1 to 5. Middle school, grades 6, 7 and 8. And high school, grades 9 to 12. At Green School, our learning is for now, not for later. It needs to be fun, but it needs to be meaningful, and that looks different in each learning neighbourhood. Our early years program is nature and play-based. Yes, students start to develop literacy and numeracy skills, but it's more important for our youngest learners to develop a connection with nature and a connection with their peers and a connection with their learning. In primary school, our students begin to learn who they are. They discover themselves, and our learning program allows that to happen. It makes that happen. And big projects, little projects, projects in the garden. Also strong thematics program connected to nature and sustainability. In middle school learning can become a little bit messy. Our middle school program is set up to allow students to elect certain parts of their learning program. So they have strong literacy and maths classes. They also have an amazing thematics program based on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Our grade 8 students at the end of middle school do a capstone project which is based on their own sustainability passion project. In high school, our students are ready to make an impact in the world. Our program allows students to develop the life skills required and the mindsets needed to take action and to use their learning. High school students do a lot of projects. Their culminating project, their Greenstone, is an amazing year-long learning journey where students choose a sustainability-based project and bring that project to life.
This is one of my favourite places on the campus. We're right down here by the river. Behind me is the Ayung, the Great Ayung River, and it powers right through our campus. It's a force of nature. It's also a source of energy. Right here down at the river, we have our very own micro hydro system.
the Green School Vortex. And this vortex provides a majority of the power that we use here on the campus, and it forms part of Operation Rain or Shine. So along with our other renewable energy systems, we try and offer a range of different learning opportunities for our children to see all the different ways Mother Nature can help power our campus, our community, and the world. Clean, renewable, and reliable energy. I'm here on the top floor of the heart of school, and this is home base for our middle schoolers. And you can see behind me here some of our renewable energy technologies. We really love the idea at Green School that the whole campus is a classroom, the whole campus is a laboratory, and that we can innovate and we can find solutions to real problems right here on the campus. This solar system here is part of Operation Rain or Shine, which was a high school-led initiative that's ongoing, looking at understanding and implementing different types of clean, reliable, renewable energy right here on our campus. Everyone in our community has a part to play in making our world sustainable, starting right here on the campus. We have in our main car park our waste recycling centre, so all families can bring their recyclables there, sorted, to be responsibly moved on to recyclers on the island. But the very best of that trash we keep right here on the campus because this is a resource for learning. So in this area here in our Community Innovation Hub is Kambali. And in Kambali we have resources here that can be used. So some of these products can be used raw for projects here on the campus that the students are involved in. But we also have some really cool equipment in here. So we can take certain types of plastics and they can be processed into filament like this that can be further processed into a form that we can put into molds. So you can literally bring in some plastic trash and leave with a plate or a fork or a bowl or something useful. We've even had kids make recycled surfboard fins, which are really expensive here. So very cool product, limited only to the imagination. Here we are at the Human Resources Centre, otherwise known as the toilets. This is one example of our composting toilet system that we have at Green School. Composting toilets don't need to be nasty. We have a fantastic odourless, waterless, chemical-free system that takes human waste and turns it into organic matter that can go back into the earth in a really safe way. These toilets are really beautiful. Our parents helped design these structures. So they're super friendly, they're actually a work of art and really inviting even for the tiniest of people. That's our take on composting toilets at Green School. Just pulling up in the garage, friends. We ride in style and sustainably at Green School. Our biobus transport service normally operates 5 days a week, taking our children to school and back home again in the afternoons. Our biobuses run on used cooking oil, which the students are involved in collecting from hotels and restaurants around Bali. So it helps them dispose of used cooking oil in a responsible way, and it powers our buses. I'm not actually allowed to drive the biobus, but I am allowed to use this. So for any families who don't ride the biobus and have a diesel vehicle, they can fill their car up right here on the campus at the biodiesel pump station. As well as the biodiesel bus service and the pump station in the car park to fill up your diesel vehicle, we also have electric charge stations here on the campus. So electric motorbikes are a growing option for transport around Bali, and you can plug in right here. We're entering primary school, and in primary school every class has their own set of gardens that they work with. In the upper school the students work with more cooperative gardens and working with permaculture principles to grow things that are beautiful but also that are edible and medicinal. And right here in primary at a grade 1 classroom, we can see in the garden here we've got corn, we've got papaya, we've got bananas, we've got flowers bringing the bees and the butterflies, and of course always so quintessentially Bali, the lemongrass. Our campus is wild.
It's intentionally rugged. We design it this way. This is great for kids, gross motor skills, but also their cognitive development. So everything is designed by intention, but we work with what is already here. On my left here, you can see these beautiful springs. This is where we hold special ceremonies during the year. It's quite a sacred place on the campus. It's really calm and very peaceful. On my right, in contrast, this pit of mud comes to life because this is the Green School mud pit. It's a really popular place on the campus. So yes, our children get in here. It's like baby elephants on a hot day, cooling down in the mud and the water. Also, while I'm here, over there is Grasshopper Grove. This was named by our early years students because this is a great place to go if you want to find grasshoppers, dragonflies and butterflies. No two buildings on the Green School campus are the same. Every single one of them is unique. Every single one of them is also a work of art. We're here in the Green School Yoga Studio. This beautiful space comes to life when the children come in here for yoga sessions. Nothing is more beautiful than stopping in here and watching the 3-year-olds take yoga. It is pure joy. It's a beautiful space. I can hear the river behind me here. There's a gentle breeze coming through here. It's a very, very serene and special place on our campus. When we think about well-being at Green School, we think about the whole person, the social, the emotional, and of course the physical, and not just the individual child or the individual community member, but the whole community. This behind me is the Arc. This is our community centre and our sports centre. So what goes on in here? This is a place that we gather that holds us for recreation, for presentations, and for celebrations. This is the Arc. We are here for you. I'm Kate, and community is at the heart and soul of what we do here at Green School. The Community Centre team and I are the friendly faces who will guide you throughout your journey, answering any and all your questions along the way. From the moment you connect with us to the time you're here with us in the jungle of Bali, you're part of the family. We understand that making the decision to come here is a major one, and it's our job to make it feel as seamless as possible. We're so excited to know that you're considering Green School Bali for your family.
Hi, I'm Leanne, Director of Communications here at Green School Bali and our admissions team. I've been at the school for the last 8 years now, and my daughter is in grade 5. As a parent myself, I understand what it means to pack up your life and embark on this journey to Green School. My job is to connect with families like you, our applicant families, and provide resources and events for you to feel informed and engaged with our community here at Green School Bali throughout the application and onboarding process. Once families like you are here, we help everyone stay up to date with what's going on in our vibrant school and community so you can feel plugged in as soon as possible. I'm passionate about community and about engagement, and I'm here for you. Now let's meet my colleague in communications and engagement, Tian.
Hello, I'm Tian. I'm all about community and communication. I'm really looking forward to keep you up to date and informed until you get here and beyond.
Hi, I'm Pancha. I'm Admission Manager at Green School Bali. From the moment you click send on the first email, I'm here to help guide you and your family through the step-by-step admission process. I have family with questions on the process, send friendly reminders, and help our leadership team review application. The best part of my role is sending family good news when their application has been successful. That's my favorite thing. My other favorite things is finally welcoming you all in our jungle school on the orientation and start your Bali life and Green School life journey.
We're the Green School Community Centre, and we are here for you. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for sticking with that package. I hope it was informative for you. We did put a lot of love into putting that together and really thinking about the things that are important for us to share with families that are interested in finding out more about Green School. So I hope that was useful. And speaking of useful, I have two friends with me here now on the bamboo settee.
who are all yours for this next section of the virtual open day. They are here to jump into the questions and give you the answers that you're looking for. So I would love to introduce two of my favourite people in Green School, Dan and Rachael. And I would love to ask you if you could introduce yourselves to our friends out there all around the world, share a little about yourself, and then we're going to dive into the questions. Dan, over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you for the introduction, Ibu Kate. I am Pak Dan, originally from Toronto, Canada. I spent time teaching in both England and Thailand before finding my way to this wonderful spot we have here in Bali. I began my educational career here at Green School Bali as a math and science teacher, teaching some PW as well. But with
PW, I'm the translator here.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
I'm going to call out all the little abbreviations and acronyms. What's PW?
Thank you so much. That's our physical well-being program. So it differs from typical physical education by really having a focus on building physical literacy and fluency of the body rather than sticking to traditional sport methods. So we kind of put a twist on the typical physical education to really instill an understanding of self and how your body interacts with movements, but also with other people and other parts of the body. So thank you for that, Kate.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, onwards.
Yes, and again, one of the largest passions of mine as an educator is the concept of transdisciplinary or interdisciplinary learning, by where students are building the skills along with the academic knowledge to produce and guide themselves within their own learning journey. So trying to find connections of all those important proficiency classes like math, science, and math, science, and literacy to really form connections that are beyond those disciplines as individual subjects and more of understanding how those can be applied to a complex problem or one specific theme of learning in general. So that's something as a middle school program we really focus on during our thematic lessons, as well as some of the other units we do in middle school. Leave that up to you.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you, Dan. And over to you, Rachel.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Dan. Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here today joining you guys. Hello, it's really lovely to see so many of you. I'm here as a parent representative today. I joined Green School 6 years ago now with my then 3 teenage boys, and who joined twins into middle school, grade 6, and a high schooler into grade 9. And over the 6 years, I've seen many changes at Green School. I do want to admit that I am an educator and I do actually work here. But today I am wearing my parent hat. So if anybody has any questions from a parent point of view, settling in, transition, how I found it, please fire those directly to me. But we're here to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Rachel. I think between the three of us, we have about 20 years collective Green School Bali experience. So we want to bring that to you today. Yeah. And Rachel, I too am the mum of 3 Green School children, also 2 who are alumni. Yes. So have graduated from Green School, and my youngest, who started here in the early years program in kindy, is now in grade 10 or moving into grade 11 very soon. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. So like many Green School families, we came for 1 year, and that was, I think, 11 years ago now. So that is not an uncommon Green School family story. So lots to share with you today. Thank you so much for putting your questions in the chat. And again, if you're out there and you have a question, we would absolutely love to hear from you and to answer your questions. So the team is providing the questions to me here as they come in, and we collectively are going to give you the best answers we can. So I'm going to kick off with the most fantastic question from Michael. Thank you so much. What are you looking for, or are we looking for, in a Green School family? And thank you for asking that question. It's such a good one to kick off the conversation. To start us off, I would just love to say that the families that we love at Green School are the families that have spent some time understanding the Green School. So reading, watching, joining us today in this virtual open day, asking the questions and getting in touch with our admissions team to really find out if you feel that Green School is right for you. I think Sal mentioned in the the introduction, Green School is not necessarily for everybody. It doesn't necessarily suit every learner. So the best families are the ones that have done that due diligence and asked those questions. So that's my general kind of response. But let me take it, let me start with you, Rachel, perhaps.
Yeah, I think, wow, what a great question to start with, actually. And I think Kate's right. I mean, when back in the day, for me, it was easy. I have been in Asia for 20 years. So and my children were born in Asia. So we were already an expat family. We already had that background. But moving to a school in the jungle was a big move for us as a family. And I did do my due diligence. I followed Green School for a few years prior. We came to Bali with my eldest son. My children were in quite a standardized education system in Asia. And we as a family were looking for something very, very different. Being sold by the beauty of this place, absolutely. Loving the teachers that we met here on a tour that we came on. And I was looking for community. So I think, but was my family the right fit for Green School? We didn't know. We weren't sure. And it was only actually asking the questions, finding out about the family, the community. It was the community more for us as a family. 3 young teenage boys. How are they going to integrate? What is it going to be like for them? Moving from quite a big city to Bali. And that acclimation, what is that going to look like for us? And were we ready for it? And I think a lot of that was I as a parent ready for it? Because if I was ready as a parent, then maybe I would be able to help my children be ready for it. And that's really important. We didn't come to Bali as an escape place. I know a lot of parents, Dan's nodding there. I know a lot of parents come as an escape and then happen to find Green School and then realize actually Bali is a beautiful island, but maybe Green School isn't necessarily the right fit for your child, depending on what education system that they have been in and what you are looking for them. It may be a good fit for you as parents. It may not be a good fit for your child. So it's really important to think about what your child's needs are. That is so critical here. And yes, I got the question. I mean, it was 8 years ago when I first started looking. Was why are we moving to a school in the middle of the jungle? Mom's having a midlife crisis. So I think that to ask them what they think, what they're looking for, and to know your child and know how your child ticks and what they need. If your child is somebody who needs to be directed a lot or needs quite a lot of support in their learning, then maybe this isn't the place for you.
So we do know some things about the environment. It's a very stimulating environment physically here at the campus, and the program is quite dynamic. And so children who really thrive with a lot of structure, quieter, more individualized work programs, sometimes those are things that in our experience can be a little bit challenging for some learners.
Yeah, for sure. And I think obviously my children came from quite a concrete building, and to come here where there are no doors and the classroom is literally out into the jungle. And for them, it was a big change. There was no air-conditioned classrooms and lots of mosquitoes, lots of rain, losing flip-flops and shoes everywhere in the mud. Typical kind of landing here in Bali. It was a lot of fun, and I'm fortunate that I knew that my boys were adaptable enough that they could actually cope with that, and fortunately and touch some bamboo, they've thrived while they've been here.
They have thrived. They're remarkable young men. We do have some resources on the website. Well, there's a lot on the website, but one in particular you might want to check out, which is called Is Green School the Right Fit for You, or something along those lines. And I'm sure our friends in the team here, the production team, will put a link to that in the chat. And these are some things that we've put together knowing what parent expectations sometimes are and where we haven't found great alignment. So please do have a look at those. I think you'll find that really helpful. I think the other thing, depending on the age of the child enrolling, you know, when they're older, and Dan, I'll ask you to speak to this, if they're middle or high school, we are looking for some very particular things in those learners. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, for sure. And much related to what Rachel had touched on is coming from a more structured school where you've built an understanding of what education looks like for you and almost a stable pattern of learning, where you come in, you might get the teacher to give some instructions, you do worksheets, you work from that worksheet, and you move on, find connections along the way. But those are often the students who find the toughest or need the most resilience in the change once you enter middle school, because a lot of the program here is student driven, student engaged. It's a lot of independent work that is using experts to guide you on your path or where your passions lie. So if, like Rachel said, if you are a learner who's really built and needs a structured environment where I'm going to get this, my next step is that, and this is how my scheduled day goes, those are some of the individuals who find our style of learning a little bit more difficult because the classroom isn't walled in. Yes, you could be out grabbing something from the garden. You could be going to talk to an expert at the bridge. You could be walking around campus and utilizing your skills and knowledge to come back to the classroom and apply that to your learning rather than the expectation of being seated and completing work. It's a completely different dynamic and structure. So although there is foundational learning that needs to happen with teachers at the front of being the experts in the classroom and providing that knowledge to students, a lot of the structure is much more free. So having that passion, drive, engagement, and independence in older learners is something that's really important and beneficial for the student in their learning experience and learning journey here with us.
That is great. We have spent a bit of time on that question because it's such a good one and a big, beautiful question. But I think that passion, drive, independence in the older children, their desire themselves to want to join Green School, not just the parents, but actually for middle and high school, the child themselves in particular. Families that have done their due diligence, that understand what we offer and feel that that's right for their child. Families that are wanting to make a shift in personally in how they're living to make an effort to live more sustainably, and families that really are ready to trust and respect the expertise of our educational team here at Green School is another piece that we really want to see in our incoming families. So thank you once again for that brilliant question to kick us off. Okay, so let's move on. A quick question that I can answer is, do we offer summer programs? And yes, we do. So our Green Camp program offer camps over what might be known as the summer period. It's not summer here, it's summer all year round in Bali. But I think I know what you're talking about, and a link will be put there for you so you can check out the camp programs. Also, if at any stage any of you want to come and visit Green School, please get in touch with us at admissions and we can connect you up to come and spend some time with us on the campus. Question from Susan. Thank you. Nice practical one. How close do most families live to campus? Rachel, why don't you give us your insights on that? You've been in the community a long time.
I think that's another great question. I think a lot of people come, and sustainability wise, I think there are lots of people who want to live as close to campus as possible. There are three, I'd say, main hubs of communities. One is around campus, and there are a few eco-village communities that have been set up, and there are some people who live around campus. But the majority of families live in either Ubud, which is 15, 20 minutes away, or down south, which is, I say down south, it's just south of school, closer to the beach, in an area called Canggu. And Canggu is a rather large area, but we're really fortunate in the fact that we have the bio buses that, which was a business that started actually from students and a teacher here at Green School, that actually access families in Ubud and in Canggu, Purananan area. So a lot of people don't just when you arrive, it's really important to kind of stay somewhere for a short period of time, see how you acclimatize and how your children acclimatize, what area you find is best for you as a family, what your needs are. If you kind of like more of a jungle feel or quieter, then you'll be in Ubud. If you want sort of more of a beach, lively scene as a family, in activities, you'll head sort of south towards the beach. And then I think people tend to move a little bit and find their niche, find where they want to be as a family, and then settle for the year. So not everybody's close to Green School, but there's lots of carpooling going on. As you can imagine, we really promote the sustainability here. So we've carpooled for years, and there's a whole carpooling thing, and the green bus is available. But two main areas there. Well, three. One around school, one Ubud, one Canggu. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Rachel. I know you've moved around a few times, so have I, since I've been in Bali. And great advice. So taking something short term before.
And it depends on how old the children
term.
are too, right, Kate? Yeah. I think if they're older, they want to kind of be more southern areas of the island. So
So that's great. Thank you, Rachel. And just so you know, for all incoming families, so once a family is enrolled and they've been placed and you know for certain that you're coming, there is a whole suite of resources that we provide to incoming families as they get closer to the time of arrival, including a microsite full of resources on living in Bali and starting school and so on, as well as connection into our parent community that are an ongoing font of knowledge and wisdom on all things to do with living in Bali. So plenty of support for our incoming families on that front. I have a couple of questions here which I'll group together around class placement or grade placement and the school's approach to that. So we do look at birth dates, we look at the grade they're currently in and so on. What are the sort of factors that come into that decision?
Yeah, exactly.
Dan?
I think you touched at a mission standpoint. Typically, we look from where they're coming from, what grade levels they've been through. No matter where they are in the world, they'll be working within some type of grade level that we have a compatibility scale where we understand where their learning has been, what they've gone through, and also birth date. So their date of birth, we usually group students within the same year group together who were born within the same 12 months. And typically that's what we base it off of. And in terms of going up or going down, we tend to avoid those types of situations because we know that within any grade level, the terms of depth or complexity or our ability to differentiate for learners, whether they might be high achieving or face some challenges as they come, typically for the social emotional transition into the school, keeping students at that grade level that they've been working at from previous schools is what we strive for.
Yeah, it's a really good point, just to reiterate that. And Rachel, you might want to add to that, but making sure that children are with their correct social kind of cohort is such an important piece. And then the learning, we can make adjustments. I think families often do ask for their child to be placed a year above where they are right now. Potentially, that is a question we do get from time to time, but we know that friendship and the social emotional connections and cohesion is such an important part for the learning to activate.
Yes. And especially for the younger years.
Yes.
And sort of, that's my bucket of expertise really as a parent. But as an educator, I think it's really important that parents may ask the question about can my child go into the year above, but we really focus in, especially in early years, we focus in on age appropriate and social emotional needs, and that's our number one priority for early years and for primary too. Mm-hmm. Not saying that we've never moved children around. There have in the past been some movement, but we talk to the parents in depth, and we we speak to the teachers and we make sure that it is the right fit for that child.
That's great. Thank you, Rachel. Good practical question there. I know we have a lot of early years parents out there on the call today, so a special shout out to you with the precious little ones. Just a quick question which I will answer around admissions. We have 2 intakes each year at the beginning of the school year, semester 1, which is in August, and then at the beginning of semester 2, which is January. So right now we have closed enrolments for August 2022, and we're just making those last placement decisions now, and then our focus is on finalising enrolments for January 2023 and then looking to August 2023. There is no particular advantage or disadvantage to starting in August or January. We offer the same onboarding, transition support for the children and resources and support to incoming families in January as we do in August. So it's a repeat of that process. So that's something to think about. I know we have some people out there that are on a different school year system where the school year perhaps starts in January, and so we always want to keep some space there. Generally, and this is the case for next school year, 2022-23, our main intake, our biggest intake is in August, and then we have a smaller intake in January. So there are less places available in January, generally compared to August, which is why if you're thinking about Green School, please do get in touch with the admissions team who can support you on the process and advise you on the best timing to get your application in. All right, let me take a quick moment to just check the running list of questions. Now, this is one on school subjects in high school. So the question is quite specific here around how many subjects and are there mandatory subjects for high school? And I think the question also applies to grade 8 from Angela's question, if I'm reading it correctly. So who would like to have a first go at that one?
Well, high school, because I have a graduate, or 2 years ago graduated, and I have, my twins are now, having gone through middle school, are now in grade 11 with 1 more year to go. They basically cover the proficiencies, so maths, English and science, and then there are arts electives, and then there is the famous Druhan, which is the highlight of my boys' week, and then there are the arts. Did I say the arts? Yeah. I may have already said the arts. Yes. So there are proficiency classes that they have to take, and they take that all the way through to graduation. And then there'll be specific science courses that they need to choose, and their electives for thematic subjects, which integrate all of the maths and science and literacy anyway, as well as, and of course then there's the Druhan. So I might let Jan.
So great. And I think in amongst all of that, the requirements, the required subjects, you know, the amount of choice that children get is part of what is very special at Green School, even in the middle school, even in primary school, actually, having some choice in their program. For primary, it's that Druhan, but then middle school, more choice opens up, and high school, such that as a child gets ready to graduate and you look back on their path to get there, no two child's path looks the same. So they can build their own completely unique program, having ticked off the required subjects along the way. But I think when we talk about subjects, it sort of starts to conjure up ideas of, you know, not so, whatever the opposite of integrated learning is, unintegrated learning, boxed learning or something. And that might be something, I know you're absolutely passionate about this, Dan. In the middle school, we see it in all learning neighbourhoods, but maybe you want to talk a little bit about thematic learning or integrated learning, where we blur the lines around subjects.
Yeah, so again, something that I am very passionate about, but just as an overview in middle school, other than what Rachel was able to cover, so our main subjects are proficiencies, math, literacy, science. We also have a green studies, what we count as a proficiency, which is the environmental science side of our science scope and sequence. So that's very focused to being outdoors, experiential, working with the chickens, the pigs, the gardens we have here on campus, learning how to cook and some different ways that you can utilize what we grow on campus into your everyday life. And then again, we also have thematics They do PW, which again, hopefully we know by now is physical well-being, and social emotional classes. And the thematic learning, a lot of parents ask me, when do students learn social studies or history or geography? So our thematic scope and sequence from grades 6 to 8 is around sustainable development goal as the middle complex problem of one of the SDGs, and it's different in each grade level and each term. So if a student is studying a specific SDG around poverty, let's say that is their complex problem, and they approach that through a mathematic lens, a scientific lens, or lens of geography or history. If you're going to do something like tourism in Bali, you bring into the historical components of the tourism industry in Bali, and that has a large focus on the historical lens of learning through that thematic frame. And those are sequenced from grades 6 to 8 to give students a diverse and wide variety of the different social studies subjects that you might see labeled in other classes or in other timetables in other schools. But we do our best to diversify those across grades 6, 7, and 8, so the student gets exposure to a bunch of these different social studies concepts, but around the topic of a complex problem from a sustainable development goal.
So great. Thank you, Dan. Brilliant explanation. I'm going to do just a tiny translation here, actually, which is on Pak and Ibu. You might hear Dan referring to Ibu Rachel, and Ibu means Mrs., Ms., and also Mum. And Pak means Mr. and also Dad in Bahasa Indonesia. So if you hear that one, that's your hot tip on how to translate that one. Thanks so much for that explanation, Dan, because I think even when I reflect on my first experience at Green School and we came as a family, I wasn't working at the school at that time, and knowing I wanted something different for my children, seeing them thrive in that kind of more holistic way, but also intellectually, their intellectual curiosity and their time at the school in that first year was just really remarkable. But I think for many of us, or certainly someone my vintage, sort of having to unpack what I understood school to be and wanting to really understand and respect this different way. So not just wanting something different, but wanting all the old stuff kind of packed in there too, like grades and some standardized testing and all of those things. So, that I feel comfortable because that was my frame of reference. And letting go of that and trusting the educational expertise in the school and being prepared to really spend some time learning myself the Green School way of education, I feel like was an important transition that I had to go through as a parent and have seen many parents go through. Yeah. Okay, so with all of that and questions about subjects that are covered, high school in particular, but any learning neighbourhood, again, please go onto the website. There are curriculum overviews there and a lot of other information about the way the program is structured and our philosophy. So please check that out. Now, we have some great questions here. I think from Clean, we have some children coming through in the background, keeping it real, as Leanne says. Carlos and Camilla and Paul as well, who've all asked questions related to transition. So transitioning into the school for the child, but also transitioning out. Getting some hellos and shout outs from the children as they're walking by us here. Beautiful. So where were we? So questions about transition and transition into the school, but I think a lot of these questions are really about then if a learner leaves Green School and go back to wherever they've come from or onto another school, what is our experience with that? How do children go with that? It's a common question. Mm-hmm. Who'd like to? Rachel, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think to start with, transition anywhere is not easy. I think we need to just put that on the table. Mm-hmm. Hi. Okay. Sorry. We have some friends walking
Someone
by.
really wanting to say hello to Ibu Rachel.
Transition isn't easy. And I think if you come with a family with an open mind and ready for difficult questions from your children and to be able to face it all, so take some deep breaths and take one day at a time, then I think those are probably the best things. Find yourself join in with everything you can as a family. You know, come to the Sandcat meetings, come to the community meetings here at school, and there is a lot of support once you get here from the GSPA, which is the Green School Parent Association. There's a lot of support from the learning heads and our school counsellors to help your children transition, but as a family as well, I think just getting really involved in the community. There's a lot we can do here. I think transitioning out, again, we have a saying here at in Bali and in Green School is that we want you to have a good goodbye. So that's really important. When anybody's transitioning anywhere, we want to make sure that the children have good closure with their friends and their teachers, and the same for you as a family. But I think moving on to different schools, I mean, that's a big question, isn't it? I mean, some people, because I think you and I, Kate, we kind of just came for a year. And so I'm thinking about transitioning back. That was always going to be hard, but it was also going to be a question of, am I coming for the experience or am I coming for the grades? And it was never about coming for the grades. It was about coming for the experience. It was coming to integrate and acclimate into Bali and into the community here and into the school. So for me as a parent, and I think that's probably why I think my family and my story has been what I think is thriving here in Bali and in Green School, is because I never came for the grades. I never came looking for standardization. I came looking for something different. And if you have that open mind about looking for something different, moving back into whatever you came from, or moving into something different again, you will be better placed to deal with that. But because we are very different here.
Yes,
You know,
and I think
we pride ourselves in that, but we also we want to share that with you too, that we are very different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, we can touch on the question of grades and testing and our approach to assessment for children, which often does go hand in hand with this whole question of sort of transition out. But we do keep in touch with families who have come to the school and left. 1 year is the minimum enrolment at Green Schools. It's really important for families to know that. We want to hold community. That relationship between the learner and the teacher is so important, and that needs time to be nurtured. And the only exceptions to that are early years, where sometimes we will take a single semester enrolment if we have space. And the only other exception to that is the diploma program, grade 11 and 12 at Green School, which is a 2-year program and a 2-year commitment. So everybody that starts together in grade 11, 2 years later, will be standing together at their graduation ceremony. So there's some exceptions. But what we know from the families that have exited over the years that we keep in touch with is that moving between any educational system, even if you move between states in some countries, you will find that the sequencing of learning and the curriculum itself might be quite different. So children might be ahead in one area, maybe a little behind in another area, just because the way the program rolls out. And that's our experience at Green School too. But what we're really proud of is that our learners, when they leave, and what our parents tell us after they have left here and settled into wherever they're going, is that child's advanced understanding of the world and themselves. So this piece around global citizenship and awareness of the world and global issues, and also their understanding of themselves as a learner and as a human. Their efforts to live more sustainably, their love for the arts, creative problem solving, collaboration, confident speakers. These are some of the things that we get back from parents, and we are really proud of that, because that is very intentional, some of those pieces, in the skills-based element of our learning program. Dan, would you like to, I know you have thoughts on this question of transition out from Green School in particular, but your thoughts generally.
Yeah, middle school, we often find ourselves in that middle spot of education where they're coming from primary, a lot more of that singular teacher, transdisciplinary learning. And then we're the transition point between the scary high school of like, oh, credits and university and things need to happen. Why isn't my 11-year-old getting pages of homework every day in math? Like, they'll never be able to go to another school after they leave Green School if they don't do an hour of math homework every day. So what we've been able to track and do with my time here is at least And within all of our proficiencies, it's essential for us to build that foundation of knowledge in those math, science, and literacy topics to be able to feel confident working with numbers, working with different literacy devices and writing, as well as understanding the science of the world. So we definitely do a fantastic job of lining out our scope and sequence to allow for those foundational concepts and knowledge that is convergent to any curriculum around the world. These concepts and these learning outcomes can be found in any international school or any national school from some of the countries that we've taken curriculum and ideas from, like Australia, Canada, the UK. All of these foundational learning outcomes are taken and modified to do what works best for us here. And I can say with confidence that any student who's done well and been successful in our proficiencies throughout middle school has found success in the school that they've went to after this. So any of those students that engaged in our program was able to complete and get through those proficiency classes with ease and with success was able to transfer out to another place and not only be successful in those academics, but what you get a lot of places is, oh, that's a Green School kid. Look, he knows what he wants. He knows who he is, and he has the confidence to push and drive his own education, which is something that, again, I'm proud of to be a part of here in raising individuals who have that drive and that passion and self-awareness.
So great. Thank you, Dan.
No problem.
Just bringing all that middle school energy to that question and answer. That's brilliant. Thank you. Rachel, I think it's worth touching on our graduates, the graduates from Green School, our first graduating class. Took off into the world in 2013, I think. So the high school came along a little after the rest of the school, or the first part of the school was established. Your son has graduated from Green School, one of them, two more on the way. Maybe you can share with us what he's doing in the world, and I can share a little bit more about where Green School graduates go.
Yeah, so my eldest started in grade 9, which is the start of high school. Basically, I mean, it was a shock to the system when he first arrived, and because he's quite academic, so wanted to follow in some academics, and Green School were able to offer all of the academics that he was looking for, and basically he led his own path. He chose the right electives and choices for the subjects that he was really passionate about and that he was really interested in. He graduated in the, dare I say, COVID 2020, but it was still a beautiful graduation and he had to present a capstone at the end of the grade 12, a project similar to like a TED talk of the project that he'd been doing during his time in high school. And a wonderful experience actually to present your own project, your personal passion project to the rest of the community when you graduate. And then he chose to go on to university. His graduating class, which I know your daughter was part of, Kate, not everybody chose to go to university, but Harry did. And he's in a university in England now, studying architecture and environmental engineering. I think for him, he would say, and he has, as part of the alumni, has said that the reason that he was given so many opportunities when he was here, and he said yes to virtually every single opportunity that came his way. And that's a particular mindset, I think, of students here, that they get into that when they first come to Green School. You need to say yes, you need to jump into these opportunities, and also find opportunities of your own and follow the path of the things that you are particularly interested in. And he's still in touch with all of his graduating friends, and we have a great alumni system going. I think
it's fantastic, and he is a great example of the sort of learner that we really do look for in the school. So someone that's ready to step in and step up and say yes to those opportunities or activate their own ideas. And I know
Harry, I can do the bragging for you, Rachel, but I know Harry really got involved in our big renewable energy projects that were very student-centred, called Operation Rain or Shine, which was an amazing solution actually that's been activated here on our campus, and Harry was a big part of that team in the high school that led the way on that. So it was fantastic. If you want to find out more about where Green School graduates go, I'm sure there will be a link put there to our alumni page on the website and you can jump in. My two children also, eldest two are off in the world, one doing marine biology and one who has deferred university, sorry, there's a lot going in the background just this second, and has started her own sustainable fashion business. But find out more about our graduates because I think that really is a testament to the quality of the program. It is holistic, but those pathways to university are there, noting that some children don't choose that pathway, and we've had children go out and just start their own business, start a foundation, go and intern in amazing places around the world and so on. So please dive into that. Okay, let me just jump back into the questions. Okay, here's a good rapid fire one. Rachel, this is for you. What is the average class size in primary school?
So 22. Let's start there. So early years class sizes are smaller, but for primary, we don't like to go over 22. And that is a ratio of 3 homeroom teachers to 22 students. And that's a pretty impressive ratio. And you can imagine the attention that each child gets in that class. It's pretty special. And of course, their homeroom classes. And then, of course, they go off to specialist teachers for music and art and green studies and PW as well. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you. And then looking at middle school, of course, classes do get a little bigger as children get a little older, and that having that a wider kind of social pool and opportunities to collaborate and join different classes and expand the program, comes in as the children move up through the school. So we see those class sizes get bigger as children grow and move up through upper primary, middle and onto high school. Dan, question for you, which thank you very much. This is from Annalena, so thank you for that question. What's the average... Oh, sorry. No, it's from Paul. No, sorry. Backing up. It's from Etienne. How well is the school integrated into the Balinese community? Dan, love to hear your thoughts on that.
Great question.
Yes. So obviously within our real learning, the L for local is something that we really focus on. So our Bahasa Indonesia team does an amazing job at putting together. We have both thematics units based around Balinese culture, and we theme our arts and Jalan around a Balinese cultural theme as well. So these are times where students really get the opportunity to connect with local vendors, connect with not only the area around the school, specifically in Sibang, but also around the island in Bali, and work on such a wide variety of skills. There's such amazing, unique skill sets and concepts that students learn from Bali and the Balinese people in general, that it's amazing to see how interests are built from even expat students who come and say, oh my goodness, I never knew about the concept of how ceremonies work, and I want to create sustainable incense and be a part of that. And that all comes with our connection to the different outlets that we have to really help our small green school community really learn and become one with the community around us. So we have several different subjects and themes that are based solely on building that connection. We have a Bahasa community time on Fridays where the whole middle school gets together and works on a project based around the culture, based on an upcoming holiday that we celebrate here at school. And it's really a large integral part of our program.
So nice. I mean, so much, Bali, there's just so much to offer here in Bali and Indonesia more broadly. Just an amazing cultural experience.
for many of our families who are expat, who are most of our families in our community. But we do have a large cohort of Balinese children in the school, most of which are on a scholarship at Green School. And that is a really beautiful part of the experience for everybody, including us expats who have the opportunity to make those connections, relationships, friendships, and learn alongside the Balinese members of the community. It's a piece that the school has really worked hard on, those local connections in lots of different ways. So thank you, Dan, for those thoughts. Rachel?
And Kate, I want to add as from a family perspective, I think that the more the family can acclimate into our local community, the more successful our families are going to be. Learning the language, getting to know the culture, actually, sort of going to ceremonies, being a part of it all as much as you possibly can. That then leads to a more successful experience while you're here at Green School. We are a family, a community of learners, right? And we expect our parents to be part of that community of learning about the local culture too.
So true. And we haven't touched on it today, but we do have our own parent learning neighbourhood. So that is really held together by what we call the Bridge, which is our parent co-learning, co-creating and co-working space that run talks and workshops and also support parents with different clubs and activities each week. And being connected locally is a theme that runs through all of those programs for parents as well. So great point, Rachel. Thank you for reminding me of that. It really is the whole family, not just the children, that have the opportunity to make those connections. And for us, it's really an expectation of families coming in. So we're the guests here, and it's on us to be respectful, but also to take these opportunities to learn and develop these relationships.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I just want to pick up a quick question, which is around boarding. The expectation is that when children enrol at Green School, the parents also in some ways are enrolling at Green School, but definitely they are our partners in education. So we do expect parents to be here on the island with their child, or at least one parent. And any other arrangement the school needs to know about. But generally speaking, that is a requirement of enrolment, that a parent is here full time with their child while they're enrolled at the school. So thank you for asking that question. All right, I think we're getting close to our time. Well done, everyone, for staying on the call all of this time. Absolutely brilliant. We have one beautiful question which we might round out with, which is from Paul. And Paul says, you say the school isn't perfect. What else does Green School need to do, I think, to get closer to our ultimate vision? And I guess in some ways the vision is that the job is never done. Our curriculum is a living thing. Our community is an evolving thing. But perhaps I'll let you, Dan, maybe share some thoughts and reflections on that.
Yeah, and I think the gaps between us reaching our final goal change along with societal changes as well. Like as we and society grows, and especially in a technology world, grows so much faster than we're able to evolve. We're always trying to analyze and think about which path of evolution we need to take as a school to get to giving our learners the best chance to thrive and make change in the real world once they leave here. So I think as society is dynamic and will never change, I think we're consistently doing research, getting feedback from alumni, looking at other trends around the world, and finding the avenues in which we can evolve to ensure that our students have the best opportunities to meet what we want them to be, which is making a change in our world and changing how we work and how the economy and society works to ensure that we're living in a sustainable way and we're providing future generations what they need to ensure that we're able to be healthy ourselves, but have a healthy world around us and have healthy relationships between all the different countries, cultures, and religions around the world. So I think it's really important that that as we see society moving in that direction, that we're able to upkeep those dramatic and quick dynamic changes that we see around us.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I mean, a big part of wanting to engage in these conversations is to be really open and authentic with families out there. And I think for us to ever sit here and say everything's perfect would actually be not respectful of you that are giving some time and maybe contemplating coming to the school. So we absolutely love what goes on here. We're very proud of it. We're very committed to it. But as Dan said, you know, it should always be evolving and responding to where the world's going. In that kind of global context as a more progressive education centre. Maybe just a couple of words for you, Rachel, because I have one more thing that I would love to show to everyone on the call here before we wrap up today. But any thoughts from you on that question about, you know, when will we achieve or what do we need to do to realise our vision?
I think you're right. We're not perfect. We could certainly have a conversation. I know that we are improving toilets, but there we go. Something to learn when you get to Green School. But I think we do a really good job of, there's a community for the parents. There is a community for the teachers. I think the Green School offers Green School teachers the opportunity to learn more because we constantly having to upskill because of the constant changes that Pat Dan was talking about in the world. Yeah. I don't know, Kate,
Nice.
actually a bit lost for words, so I'm not quite sure where we can improve.
It's another big, beautiful question. So you have brought some of the most interesting questions to this chat today of all the virtual open days we have done. And thank you so much for that. We are close to wrapping up. We'll grab a couple of very quick Q&As after this next piece that are short and sweet to answer, and I want to get those to you and honour the questions that have come in. But right now, if you would just take a minute, I'm going to patch in Leanne in a little video that she's put together to explain to you the enrolment process, just so you have that nice practical piece of information in your toolkit. And look out for her amazing hand gestures. I have suggested she could definitely get a job on an airline with this piece. So watch out for those, and I will see you, and I will see you too back here in just a minute to wrap up.
Hi, my name's Leanne. I'm the Director of Communications and Community Centre at Green School Bali. I'm also a parent here for the last 8 years. My daughter's in grade 5. I'm here to support families all the way through our admissions process to join us and settle in here at our school. Today, I'll be taking you through our admissions process and helping you navigate through the steps to enrol your children here at Green School Bali. Here's a step-by-step guide to joining us here at Green School Bali, and you can meet some of the friendly faces to guide you. Step 1, get to know us, get to know our learning programme. We encourage all families to get to know us more and see if we're the right fit school for your family. Explore our website, read through the admissions and learning programme pages in particular, watch videos about our unique learning programme and experiences. Really dig deep into what the Green School Way is. These videos share more in-depth information all about our learning programme, projects, all the way from early years, primary, middle school, up to high school. A must-read on our website is the article, Is Green School Right for You? All links can be found on the website here. We are an inclusive school, but we really look for students and families who want to make a change in the world, whatever their background. Here are some things we like to see in potential families. A passion for progressive education that blends the learning of knowledge with the mastery of skills and the nurturing of values. Curiosity and motivation as learners with a love and interest in the natural world. An active commitment to learning, particularly for our older students who need to be responsible and motivated to take advantage of the opportunities available to them at Green School. A desire to be part of a community including respect for others, respect for Bali, and the honouring of our educators as professionals and experts. A genuine readiness to make personal changes to help make our world sustainable. Step 2, submit your application. Submit your application and open apply with us for review. To start your application, visit our website here and click Apply Now. Starting an application does not mean you need to commit to joining us, and every application is individually reviewed. But this step means that we can really get the conversation going and get to know each other. With an application in process, we can offer virtual events and send you information every step of the way so you know what's going on at the school, and you can get to meet some of our team here in the community centre who support new families like you from application to settling into the community. We will support at each step of the process and ask that you submit all relevant documents for our educators to review as you move through the process. We love getting to know each family along the way and to help you and us find the best fit for your child. Not quite ready to make the leap now? No problem. Click Inquire Now on our website to create a registration of interest on our Open Apply system, and we will keep in touch with you with our admissions newsletter. It is quite common for there to be wait lists for enrolment spaces at Green School Bali, as we have a fixed maximum and maintain a low teacher to student ratio. So the sooner a family gets their application started, the better. Once your application has been submitted, you will have access to a suite of communication touchpoints to help guide you all the way to getting here to Green School Bali. From monthly virtual calls, newsletters, a closed Facebook group where you can connect with new and current families, and we even have a dedicated New Families microsite packed with resources, information and useful tips and guides to support you in your journey to join us here at school. Step 3, application review. Your application is then reviewed by our educators and our admissions team. We have an intricate and an in-depth review process. We want every Green School child to thrive, so really take care in reviewing all applications to make sure Green School is the right school for them. Our team will be in touch with you if and when your application is successful. We love sending those good news emails. That's the 3 key steps to submitting your application with us here at Green School Bali. For any questions and queries related to the admissions process, please review the admissions page on our website at the link here. And please don't hesitate to contact us at admissions@greenschool.org. We wish you all the best and we can't wait to welcome you here.
And thank you so much, Leanne, who just has put together that beautiful little video for you. I hope that is helpful. We are, as I said at the beginning of our conversation, settling enrolments now, really the final few places for August 2022 and finalising January 2023 and turning our attention now to August 2023. So if you're thinking about Green School, please get in touch with admissions and let us know where you're at. We're happy to support. And speaking of support, this event is really for you, and we design these for families for the kinds of questions and conversations they would like to have for us. So please take a minute to fill out the survey. I personally would appreciate that feedback so much, whatever you have to say. It's very quick, it's very easy. Most people never actually click on that survey and give us some feedback, so we blindly go forward, hoping we're serving your purpose or a purpose here that's useful to you. So please do me a favour and all of us and take just a quick minute to fill out that survey. Before we wrap up and say goodbye to my friends here on the bamboo settee, I just want to give a couple of more pieces of information. If you have a child for whom English is not their first language and may not transition easily into our program, for which English is the instructional language, please do check out our Green School English programs. We do have spaces in that for our camp program coming up in July and also for term 1 of next school year, so August 2022. So please take a look at that if that's interesting. Also, the school size next year, from August next school year, we will be growing. So we will open with around 420 children, I think, in our school. So that's a growth step for us. We will grow probably a little bit more in January as well. But the majority of our community stay on year to year. So between 80 and 85% of our community continue on from one year to the next. That's always been quite consistent for Green School, except for a COVID interruption. But in normal times, that's a consistent kind of retention rate. So we like that. That's very normal. In fact, it's quite good for an international school. And we always keep an eye on that churn factor because community is such a big part of what we believe in here at Green School and what we're all about. So with that, speaking of community, my two friends here with us today, thank you so much, Dan and Rachel, for giving us your time. I know you're both busy and important people here at Green School. Any final thoughts or gratitudes you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Like you said before, Kate, thank you for everyone on the call. I feel like if you're still here and engaged and you're going to leave the call happy and inspired, that's probably a good sign based on the information we were able to provide today. And I'm sure if you have any more questions and things that are weighing on you, that There's people you can reach out to get those final clarifying remarks. But if what you heard today was something that excites you and you really want to be a part of, I think that's a very good sign, still being here on this call, that this could be a potentially right fit for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I'd want to finish with just make sure you know your child as a learner. You know, make sure you know who your child is and what type of learner they are, and ask questions. You know, be a part of our community of learners. Ask those questions, find out. If you're not sure about anything, let us know. Ask.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Dan and Rachel. We will leave you to get on to your busy and beautiful day, no doubt. And thank you, everybody out there. Thanks for staying on the call. It was a long one. I hope it was really helpful to you. And as Rachel said, just reach out, get in touch with us with admissions, spend some time on the website, ask those good questions and have a good think about your family, your child, and what it is that you're looking for in your next educational adventure.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, brilliant. Thanks so much, everyone. Lovely to see you, and big shout out and thanks to our production team who are on the other side there, on the decks, on the turntables, bringing all of this to you today. So that's it. Big love from us.
Thank you very much.